Hello everybody, welcome to the next of our player card reviews for the Dream Eater cycle. Today we're going to be talking about the Dark Side of the Moon player cards. Let's dive right in. We're going to start with the 35 Winchester. This is a 4-cost item, weapon, firearm, asset that takes up 2 hand slots. It commits for a foot, and it has 5 ammo. As an action, fight, you get +2 fist for this attack if a +1, 0, or blessed chaos token is revealed during the attack. Elder Sign would be the correct one for it. This attack deals +2 damage.
I think this card's in general pretty trash. I think it might have a niche in like the blue decks that can play purple. So Diana and Sister Mary when she comes out. But in general,
Sister
it's
Mary.
like
Just
not good.
Yeah, I tend to agree.
To me, the killing part of this card is that it takes up both your hand slots.
It's alright.
It has to. It's a rifle, but like that's the part that makes it bad.
Yeah, it takes up 2 hand slots, and you get +2 attack, but when you're a blue character, that's usually not too needed,
Yeah.
and then you don't get
If this was-
extra damage, right?
If this was all the same and I took up 1 hand slot, I would have the exact same review of it.
Okay, I think this card is pretty solid if you're playing an off-class guardian,
Yeah, I think I agree with that
such
as
as that family or even Will Yorick. Like the +2 attack is not something that he's upset about having, or Skids. Like the +2 attack becomes much more relevant.
I think the big thing, though, is that there's just much
Yeah.
better weapons out there.
Yeah,
Yeah, like the fact that you don't get extra damage for it is a pretty huge downside, because that's like if you just want a punch boost, there's better ways and more consistent ways of getting it than spending
what is
resources.
it? It averages what, like on standard? It averages like +0.7 damage,
Yeah, like
something like that. I haven't actually done the math. Go ahead and correct me if I'm wrong on that. But
it depends on the scenario, right?
yeah,
But no, like that's why you play weapons, is for extra damage. Though, if you want extra punch, then there's other assets and skills you can play.
Is there an upgraded version of this?
no,
Cool.
no, it's just another
Just
in a
a-
long line of disappointing rifles.
Yeah. You know, they're gonna save that probably for the return too. They're gonna be like, here's the 35 Winchester, and it's like not garbage. It just does +1 damage normally now. All right, let's see what's next. We have Safeguard, level 2. This is a 2 experience asset. It's a talent. It commits for a brain and a foot. As a reaction, during another investigator's turn, exhaust Safeguard for the remainder of that investigator's turn. As they move from your location to a connecting location, you may move to that location as well. So now, this card is great.
Yeah,
Not
I don't
in
remember
solo.
what the other cards in this pack are, but I'm willing to bet this is the best card in the pack.
I would always do that as well, going through.
Yeah, yeah. If you ever wanted to bully your Clover into using their turn to move you, because you can do that now.
Nah, Brent, it's called supporting.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Protecting, not bullying.
But you're just sitting there and you're like, hey, if you walk in there, I'll go with you, and then I'll kill the thing. And they're like, what if I don't walk in there first? And you're like, well, then I'm not going there.
I think the first time I saw this card in action was when we did our rerun, and there's so much free action in this card. Like, you pay 1 to play it, and then you basically don't have to ever move again if you stay with your Clover, which you should, because you're protecting them. You're their safeguard.
Yeah, card's insane.
All right. Oh, this is already a really
This is
impressive
the
pack.
best card in the pack.
Practice makes perfect. It's a 1-cost seeker event. That's a gambit and a tactic. It commits for a brain and a book. Fast, play during a skill test of your location. Search the top 9 cards of your deck for a practice skill and commit it to the skill test, if able. Shuffle the remaining cards back into your deck. After this test ends, if it was successful, add that skill to your hand instead of discarding it.
This card's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, card's like very good.
Yeah.
I still think it's worse than level 2 safeguard for the record, but
I don't think so.
saying it's
This
worse
cost-
is like eh.
This costs 0 XP. The other card's basically glorified Pathfinder.
What do you mean? It's better than Pathfinder. How many free actions did you get? How many free actions did I get out of Safeguard when I played that Zoe deck?
Yeah, but like, how many free actions would you have got out of a Pathfinder? It's like pretty
Well,
comparable.
considering my job was fighting monsters, significantly less than like the 15 move actions I didn't have to take every scenario.
This is why I just play the character that goes and does their own thing, because I don't have to argue about what I've done with my movement or my attacking. But
it is pretty weird that Brent's trying to tell me a yellow card is better than a blue card, because usually it's like the other way.
It is, yeah.
No, this card's just extra copies of all of your deductions and your vicious blows and perceptions and
the card's strong, and I think like it's already if you're looking for like to get a nice competitive like cards and you play these colors, Dark Side of the Moon is a worthy pickup already just on these two cards.
Wait, don't get me wrong. I'm saying this card's like worse than Safeguard. Doesn't mean I think it's bad. I think this card is also insane.
Yeah.
But like I think Safeguard's one of the best blue cards in the game.
Yeah, if you play Mark Harrigan though, you should probably pick up this pack because you get both Safeguard and you can play Practice Makes Perfect.
Wow.
Yeah, you get to use the home front twice.
The home front is practiced.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you get to fight a guy and be like, oh, this guy came to the home front, and then you get to fight him again, and you're like, what are you still doing here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, card's strong. Saw it in play when Burns did his Rex deck, and just more deductions. I'll always want more deductions. Always.
Every time I played this card, I had to read it to make sure I wasn't cheating.
Yeah.
Because it felt like cheating.
Card's great. Let's go to the next one. We got Extensive Research. This is a 10 cost, 1 experience insight event that commits for 2 book symbols. Reduce the cost of Extensive Research by 1 for each other card in your hand. Discover 2 clues at your location.
Joe Diamond can play this for 8 out of his hunch deck.
Oh, baby.
Like, it does actually seem pretty good in Joe Diamond deck, because a lot of the time you'll be spending... If you go with the rationale that you want to play expensive cards in your hunch deck because you get a discount on them, then like you're not playing the cards in your hand, and so this card will be very cheap.
Yeah.
But also, I think this is just generally like a good card.
For me, I look at this card and like my brain doesn't grasp it. I haven't played the big hand build, right? As I can see that being like when it gets really spicy, but to me, I'm like, I'm just gonna get clues with that, and I'd rather have something else in my deck in this place. But that's
like I wouldn't play.
Oh, go Travis.
I wouldn't play this outside of the big hand deck. I don't think.
Yeah. And I think
in
that's
the big
why
hand deck, this realistically costs like 2 or less.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good price. It's just my brain can't grok it fully. It just seems like I'd rather buy something else, but I do see the potential power. I just wish I was able to like have a bit.
It does only cost 1. I think this is much more powerful at higher difficulties than the standard that we play at, because it is just get 2 clues.
Definitely, that's definitely fair.
Part of the downside is if you're playing the big hand deck, is like you're already very good at getting clues. Like, do you really need to get them for free, kinda? Yeah,
that's kind of what I kind of get from this card as well. But I think you're right, on higher difficulties, this card is 2 clues. You're playing like solo
for 1 action,
or like 2 player. Like, it's great, yeah. And it could even just cost 0 if you have some dream enhancing serums.
Yeah, it's like Drawn to the Flame without the drawback.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on this one? It commits for 2 books as well. If you ever need books,
it does commit for 2 books. You can put it into the crystallizer.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So that's cool.
All right. What we got next? 3 aces. This is a 1 experience, fortune practice, skill in green. Commits for a wild symbol as myriad, so you get 3 copies when you buy it. If you commit 3 copies of 3 aces to a skill test, the test automatically succeeds. Then draw 3 cards and gain 3 resources, max once per test.
So I know this is a green card, but it's not really. I think this is actually a yellow card.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the reason that you would play Green Mandy Thompson, and it's like borderline game breaking in her.
Mm-hmm. I think outside of that, the card's more cute than it is good, but I agree with that in Mandy. It seems really good.
Like, it might be good in Trish when she comes out, because she'll be able to play it as well, but that depends a lot on other things, because the hard part's trying to put the 3 together.
Yeah, and Mandy's literally god at that.
Yeah, and other yellow Veskers might be okay, but...
I mean, like, if you wanted to build your deck around it, you could play, like, Daredevil in this, and then the only thing that Daredevil can find is this. So it's like extra copies of 3 aces. Is that good? Probably not.
Is it fun? Hell yeah.
You could do it. Yeah, I mean, like, a lot of green things. The answer to the question, is it good? It's like kind of no.
Yeah, you're just like kind of playing 2 extra copies
Yeah.
of it, and then you're still trying to put together 3 of 5 cards in your 30 card deck, which is more manageable. But
Yeah.
Yeah, my mind's still just like it's more cute than it is good, but in the right deck, it's great. Like in the right investigator.
no, trust me, in Mandy, it's like
Oh yeah, chef's kiss.
insane.
100%.
You play the one you play the not Ancient Stone. There's one of those untranslated cards. It's like it gives you Rex's ability, and you just boost up your book, and you commit this, and you just get all the clues off the location, draw 3 cards, gain 3 resources, and use what you got to cycle through your deck again and get these back.
Yeah, seems sick. All right, what's next? We got Burglary, level 2. This is a 1-cost talent illicit asset that commits for 2 books as an action. Exhaust Burglary, investigate. If you succeed, instead of discovering 2 clues, gain 2 resources and +1 additional resource for each point you succeeded by to a maximum of 3 resources.
This is like much better than regular Burglary.
Yeah, when I was building my Fin deck, I was like, do I play? I was like, I wanted to do illicit, and then I was looking at the illicit cards, and I'm like, besides gun, there's like not too much except for pickpocketing.
Yeah, there's like whiskey, but whiskey's terrible for Finn.
Yeah, yeah. He don't drink well.
He cannot hold his liquor.
Like, I mean, like, it seems like in a dream world, you get 5 resources for 1 action, right? Like, that seems good.
If you're playing the big money deck, also succeeding by 2 or 3 or more is not really as much of a pipe dream as it otherwise appears to be. Plus, this lets you take a test that you don't really care about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like big money Finn, like if he wanted to do that, like this would be great for him because like he can investigate pretty well, right? Mm-hmm. And then just don't investigate.
I'm not sure like where you'd be playing this, where you would not have better economy options outside of like pack availability, but
yeah, you might have to be like playing fence as well, and at that point you're starting to spend a lot of your XP on cards that aren't good for the deck you're playing.
Yeah.
Or like aren't the payoffs for the deck you're playing. So
I think this is really nice as like the token green economy card like for this cycle. Like I think this card, I look at this card a lot more favorably looking from the position of someone who has like Corset, has Dream Eater's cycle, and like maybe one other cycle.
Yeah, it does. It does also, if you can play blue cards, it plays quite nicely with what's it called, Shaving Guy.
Yeah.
I forget what the card's called, but yeah.
Like some sort of like Skids in his off time can just like use his free action to get 5 resources potentially.
Or Leo Anderson.
Yeah, that seems kind of like I think like as always, especially in these later cycles and when we have a better understanding of the game and there's more options when it comes to deck building, a lot of these cards are like good in a deck built around them, right? Like, but just generally, I think this card is, as Travis said, it's good for the economy card if you don't have many other options. But in a deck built around it, like it could be nice, but
see.
All right, let's go on to some purple cards, shall we? Oh, Spectral Razor. This is a 2-cost spell event that commits for a brain and a fist. Fight. Add your brain value to your skill value for this attack. Immediately before this attack, you may engage the attacked enemy. This attack deals +1 damage, +2 damage instead if the enemy is non-elite.
This card's really, really good.
Yeah, strong card.
Yeah, we talk about being able to deal 3 damage for 1 action being a really strong thing because a lot of enemies are made slightly more difficult by having an extra point of health.
And it engages.
Yeah,
so you don't even murk the other guy if you miss.
Yeah. Like, card's strong, card's great. And you like the 3 damage to kill a non-elite enemy, as Bryn said, is fantastic. I don't think there's much more to say. Card's just strong. All right.
It makes you're like almost guaranteed to succeed the test too.
Yes. Yeah, because
you
don't just use your brain, you add your brain to your fight. So that's also relevant.
Yeah, so you're making like whatever your brain is, which you're using for most things probably. in purple decks, and then also just like getting plus like 2 or more to it.
Yeah, so you're probably attacking with 7 or like 8 or like even just 6, right? Of note, though, you can't commit cards that improve your brain to this test because it's a fist test, just for rules, for everyone.
Yeah, but you can commit plus fists.
Yeah. All right, Word of Command. This is a 2-cost level 2 spell event. Name a spell card like Spectral Razor. Search. That's a spell, right? Okay, good. Thank God. Search your deck for 1 copy of the named card and draw it. Shuffle your deck. Hey, you can find what you need to make your deck more consistent. Seems fine.
Yeah, this card's like actually not as good as it looks. But it's fine.
I think the big thing though is just that in purple you are spending your experience on so much stuff that like unless you need a spell to win the game and you need it ASAP, there's just better things you can buy.
So depending on how your deck functions, you can spend like 5 experience on a copy of I'm gonna really quickly look up and make sure this is actually a spell so I won't look like a dumbass. Yeah, on like Seal of the 7th Sign. And then you can just buy 2 of these instead of the second copy of it.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then also these function as extra copies of your other high-level spells too. It lets you build sort of like a little toolboxy thing.
Yeah, it also could be one that like if you're looking like to buy something, you can just pick it up. But it does have no symbols, so if you have your spells that you need, I mean, great, you're gonna win the game anyway, and you can just have a dead card in your hand. But
functions nicely with myriad cards like Open Gate.
Yeah.
Yeah, it also is like disappointing in that it doesn't find rituals, which are the cards that I would ever really want to pay experience to tutor out of my deck.
Like some of them are. Some spells are very good.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Spells are like usually the cards that like actually do things for rituals are the cool ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think cards it's fine. It does what it needs to, and if you need it, you'll want it. But it's not something you just pick up just because you have to experience.
You're just mad you can't tutor up double with this, aren't you, Bryn?
Oh. Like, yes.
More than anything in the
exactly
world.
That.
More than anything in the world. But you also can't find like the click one either. The
double time or whatever it is.
Borrow time. Yeah, it's almost like green card doesn't get spells like rituals.
Yeah. Yeah, it's almost like all the green ones are rituals.
Yeah. All right, we got Moonstone. This is a 3-cost item relic Dreamlands asset that takes up your accessory slot. You get +1 brain and +1 foot. You cannot play or commit Moonstone from your hand. After you discard Moonstone as a reaction from your hand, you play it paying its cost.
It's like pretty high.
Yeah, it's I feel like because this was planted here in the thing, they're like, oh, Patrice discards her hand every turn, right? Like that's great.
Yeah,
this is
I mean, like with Relic Hunter Patrice, you could very easily in the first couple of turns of the game have +2 foot and +2 brain, which is pretty neat.
I do think though that this probably plays better in something like Duke or Wendy, right? Because there's control. Like with Patrice, like I think Travis's build that he did was the best build, like from what I've seen so far, like the Desperate, right? Because you're not like hoping for anything. You're just like being good at what you want to do, right? And you can just react with what you have. You don't like have to hope, oh, I have 3 resources, I have Moonstone here, I better get these resources if I don't have them. It's kind of like you want to be able to, when Moonstone is discarded, play it. And I mean, like, it seems pretty nice in like Wendy or Duke to be like, hey, I'm gonna draw a new chit and at the same time also get +1 brain and +1 foot from this, right?
I actually think where this card is
lucky.
I actually think where this card is best is in Ursula. Because she actually wants both of those stats.
She cannot discard it.
What do you mean she can't discard it?
How does she discard it?
I'll let you know in a second.
by having
I find myself discarding cards when I play yellow all the time.
Yeah, have 9 cards in hand.
Like, She doesn't get access to any off-color cards, so it's only yellow cards that she can play.
When
Yes,
Dr.
confusing.
Ellie Horowitz, does
And
it
art
go in
relics.
play or is it in your hand?
It is never in your hand.
So
like
Dr.
you could,
Ellie,
you could Dr. Ellie it into play. So I suppose there's that. But you could
Blood
also
Right
just play the
discards
Teeth of
cards.
Vesley. Yeah, okay. I'm listening.
Occult Invocation discards cards. That's from the new
Yeah.
Harvey Walters deck. It's a damage spell.
None of these things are relics.
No, they're not, but you don't need to play. You can play yellow cards, you know that, right? Your deck doesn't have to be 100%.
yeah. No, Bryn, he says he sees Relic Acid and he's like, all right, I'm going to play 26 Relic Acids. And then this dumb ally that I have to, and then Guts, because Guts is always good. I do agree, though, Travis, that like the skills are very relevant to Ursula, right? And if she can get it out, like that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, like the downside to it is that you've got to jump through a bunch of hoops to make your 3-cost asset work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Whereas
I
you
think
could just play for a very similar effect. You could play Tooth of Vesley.
This is worse.
I think
Well,
the player
it is,
like
it is worse.
If you want this, you want to be able to like make sure that you can play it when you have it when you want to play it, right? Like, I think it's a weird card. I don't think the card's necessarily like it has a lot of good stats on it, but so does like Pete Sylvester, right?
Yeah, like honestly, I think this card's pretty bad in the grand scheme of things.
You could play it in some sort of weird Will Yorick deck, where you play Yaddle to mill yourself, because you can play it from your discard pile.
No, you can only play if you discard from your hand.
Yeah.
No, it just says you can't play or commit it from your hand.
Oh no, but you have to after
You discard from your hand. Oh,
Yeah.
you can play with his ability. Yeah,
Yeah.
But
You can play it with his ability after you kill a dude, because you're not playing it from your hand.
Oh yeah,
But that's like probably not a good plan.
Yeah, I think like this card is not good, but if you have a way to discard and you need these stats, try it out. But you'll probably level out.
I'd rather
pretty
play so many other cards in my accessory slot.
Yeah, I mean in red, I'm not like there's like Lucky Rabbit's Foot, right?
Yeah, like Rabbit's Foot is good. Cherish Keepsake is good for some investigators. Grizzly Totem is good for some investigators, and Nightmare Bauble is like very good for most investigators, not counting whatever off color you have or other stuff.
But I mean, like if if you're playing like the decks I do, which are like you want those big ass numbers on your character card to be really high, like this is where you'd want that. But I do agree.
Yeah,
like I'm not
okay, don't get me wrong.
I don't want to
You
die
might
on this
struggle a
hill.
little bit playing your Dark Horse builds though. 3 resources is a lot.
Oh, it's a lot. I mean, but like you kind of like have to build in the fact that you're gonna have to get some money to get these out, right? I don't want to like. I'm not defending this card. I don't think this card's great, but this is just like that's where you'd want it. I know you don't like this card, Travis, but I do think this card has the decks that it wants to be in. I just don't think they're decks I want to play.
Yeah, I think like you could run it in a Silas deck because you don't really have a problem getting to 9 cards in your hand.
Yeah, but I wouldn't want this card's
like-
plan to be discard to hand size to get it into play. I want to be able to control when I can get this into play.
Yeah, like in Justin Silas decks, he wants to play Dark Horse, plays Fyrax, and then just like cruise on 0 resources for the rest of the game.
Yeah. I mean, I will discard cards, but I don't want this card to be it. And keeping 3 saved for that is a bit. But like, I mean, if you're doing the Eucatastrophe build where you have the resources, maybe. But then again, you don't want this card to be played by you discarding it from your hand. That's just a waste of your time.
This is true.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to an actual good red card. We got Sharp Vision. This is a 1 experience, innate developed skill that commits for a book. Max 1 committed per skill test. While Sharp Vision is committed during a basic investigate action, it gains book in the text. If this test is successful by 2 or more, discover 1 additional clue at this location.
It's deduction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Card's great. Card's strong. I think in our last one we talked a bit about them. I think the fight one and the book one are very good, and I think this card is great in a skill-focused character like Silas or something like that.
See.
All right. Lucid Dreaming. This is a 1-cost, 2-experience spell event. Choose a card in your play area or reveal a card in your hand. Search your deck for another copy of that card and draw it. Shuffle your deck.
3 aces.
3 aces.
But yeah, this is your myriad support. It's good for purple investigators who, or like, I guess also potentially blue investigators who like have one asset that they want to use to stick around. Like, theoretically, you've got shriveling or you've got a flamethrower, and you're like, maybe I'm gonna run out of tokens or charges on this, so I need to find another one.
Yeah.
But, it's like, okay.
Yeah, I think outside of those things where you're building around a very specific like card, you don't want this.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's a clever use of neutral tutoring, right? That anyone can get into. So I think it's like...
No, it's a nicely well-designed card.
Yeah, it's healthy for the whole state of the game. I just think right now, and especially the way we play, it's not really like what we do.
Got really cool art, too.
Oh yeah, I love the art. I think I used it, or I'm going to use it for one of the upcoming list videos, because it's just like, it's nice.
Pretty.
What do we think of Dark Side of the Moon as a pack? If you're looking just for player cards, what would we recommend for people? So I think we agree blue. If you play multiplayer blue,
If you play only green, you don't want this pack.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's got a very good blue card.
Yeah.
It's got
A good yellow
very
card.
good yellow card and an okay yellow card. Green's trash. Purple is like...
It's got Spectral Razor, which is sweet.
Yeah, red is also good. I give this like a 7 out of 10 on how much I want for the player cards.
Yeah. I think overall though, like if you play multiplayer blue, this one's very worth your time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Unless you've got if you got the Nathaniel show deck, you can probably skip on it if you're getting it for that reason, because that one comes with level 0 safeguard.
Yeah.
Which is like fine. Not as good, but fine.
Cool. All right, everybody. We'll see you guys in the next episode of our player card reviews. Have a good one. And as always, GG's.